With Bison, we are impacted. With Bison, we're ready to get up. We want to win. Light the fire of power that make us free. We never break down. We want to win. We are impacted. The best team.
Hello and welcome back to episode 51 of Impacted, coming to you live via the Total Nonstop Impact Network on YouTube and Twitch. I'm your host Bison, and today I am joined by Mr. Giggle himself, the Joker, and of course, the man simply known as Steve. Hello fellas, how are we doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Really looking forward to getting cracking today. We've got a special guest. I just want to say that it's a slightly different guest to advertised. Unfortunately, Charles has got a bit of a sore throat and is unable to join us today, but he has promised that he will join us either next week or the week after. So we will have Charles on the show, just not today. So that said, we have got a special guest, and he is coming from Wrestle Carnival. You know, today, to be fair, he's recently undertaken what I would class as a huge thing, setting up his own promotion here in the UK called Wrestle Carnival. Please welcome to the show, Gary Ward.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. No worries. First of all, thank you for stepping into the, at the last minute to sub for Charles. Like I say, who's unfortunately lost his voice. We really appreciate that.
No, it's no problem at all. Charles does say on the show that it's his carnival, but I just wanted to let everybody know that it's not, it's mine. So I'll just come on and do that for now. So Charles can make sure he realizes who actually owns this carnival. He likes to say those things on his promos, but no, it's not a problem at all. You advertise someone that's representing all part of our team, so I'd like to step in if needs be, so it's not a problem.
Awesome, that's great. Now, I know over the years you've had experience of working with other UK promotions and was part of the team that organised the Ring of Honor UK tour a few years ago. What made you decide that it was now time to set up your own promotion like Wrestle Carnival?
So I had a promotion prior to this, which is called WrestleGate. I created WrestleGate and I founded that. And back towards the end of 2019, we ran a 6 shows. I promoted the first ever AEW match. So we did Hangman Page and Pac here in the UK, which is a big sort of surprise that we did. And it's worked with a lot of Japanese talent. And I did that with a partnership. And it got to towards the end of 2019 that I decided I wanted to do something on my own. Original partner in there wasn't a wrestling fan. And then we sort of had a working agreement with some other people too, and just decided that this was something I wanted to do alone, really, and just be a little bit more creative with things. And Wrestle Carnival was something I created towards the end of 2019. It was ready to go 2020. March would have been the first show, just about to announce it, and then a pandemic hit, and then so we've had to wait 18 months. But it's exciting, but just to clarify one thing, I hadn't been involved in any of the Ring of Honor tours.
I thought you were.
I've only simply been there as a supporter of the company. I've always been kind of let in for free, which is pretty cool. But I was always someone that followed it and wrote about it on my own sort of website or things like that. I haven't actually been part of anything. I've worked with a few of the people, but touch or hope. Maybe in the next one I'll be able to be a part of it, fingers crossed, but if not, I will still support them as well as do Impact and any other company around the world. I'll certainly help and support. So
awesome. That's really good.
It's been a crazy couple of years, really. I've only been doing this 18 months, so it's pretty crazy.
Okay,
it's been a bangorama.
A bag of Rama over time. I know you. One of the things that we do is, we do pop little funny sound bites in every now and again, Gareth.
Okay, I thought Ace was calling me out then.
Yeah, if we feel it's appropriate, then we sort of kind of bang them in. Steve loves a good sound bite, don't you, bud?
No problem.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't? Exactly. Now, it's funny enough, you touched on it there, but I knew you were set to launch in 2020, but unfortunately with the pandemic hitting, it put a halt to obviously your plans at the time. Now, fast forward to 2021. So far, we've had 2 shows. We had Curtain Call. We've also had Carnival, which is the one that I attended a few weeks back. What are the highlights for you so far from the first couple of shows?
Just getting it off the ground is obviously a big highlight. Seeing the branding and seeing sort of how it's set up, so you have like a vision of how you want something to look in anything that you do. But in wrestling terms of, I'm very much branding. I like everything to look good. To see that sort of come to life was fantastic. To be able to work with new people was incredible. From a personal point of view, I am literally the biggest Ring of Honor fan there is. So to be able to produce stuff for Ring of Honor is literally a dream. If we never did a show again, I've literally achieved what I've always wanted to do. So I'm very, very proud of that. And I'm proud to be working with new people like Charles. Obviously, Charles is unable to attend today, but working with someone like Charles, who's still relatively new to wrestling, but being able to give him a platform and work with him, or working with, Doug Williams, Joe Hendry, Session Moth, Chris Ridgway, just these huge names, Dean Allmark, just these big names of the UK scene, and being able to work with them. And then being able the opportunity to have, Jonathan Gresham and Jordan Grace here on Saturday is just incredible. So, a bit of everything, really, from the look of it to the people we work with. Just everything I'm very, very happy with. And I think that the ultimately is being able to provide something like you and your daughter sort of 3 hours of entertainment. Knowing that your daughter went home happy that's why we do it. That's why I want to do it. I want to be able to provide something for people to come and enjoy and meet new fans and meet new friends. And that's it. That's
the ultimate goal. Yeah, exactly.
That is it. Yeah, I'd love to do it full time, but who knows what will happen. But to know that there's 250 people going home happy, enjoyed themselves for a few hours, and I was able to provide that. That's pretty cool. That's really good.
Yeah, that is really cool. And I'll tell you what, you've got some really good reception on social media. When the pictures started going up with the setup, the ring coloring, everything that you were doing, I think there was a lot of people that were like really surprised to see how professional and how good it looks. You had kind of like the whole red and yellow thing going on. A lot of people were like, man, who would have thought that would look so amazing? But of course it does. To me, it's of course it's going to work well. I mean, Christ, did you not ever see Hulk Hogan? But anyway, I think the setup looks amazing. And I think you're doing a fantastic job. And, even to the extent where we got sort of kind of, not obviously WWE standard pyro, but we had a bit of pyro and, we had some smoke and we had the big screens and everything else. I mean, for me, I thought it was really good. Well set up, well produced. Everything flowed really, really well. You can't really ask for much more than that. When you go and watch a promotion.
I appreciate that. We put a lot of time and effort into those, and producing a show for 3 hours and ensuring that everything goes smoothly and it's run correctly. I've got multiple headsets on that I'm talking to multiple people and trying to produce that and making sure.
Yeah, I did see you running around.
Yeah, it's one of them. But it after the 3 hours, you kind of just like lay back stage and like,
I need to sleep. Sleep.
It's fun. And the branding means a lot to me in anything that I do. I love branding, and sitting there on Photoshop putting black or red and yellow together and seeing where it could all work, and just like you say, seeing it come to life is great. Yeah,
it's really good. Now, interesting, like you say, you've been around the UK scene for a while. You're obviously a big fan of the UK style of wrestling as well, which is obviously, where we're all about, what we're about. We love UK wrestling. We love the style that that ultimately our guys sort of kind of come up with. What are your thoughts on the current UK scene, especially some of the emerging talents we are getting to see, like it shows like Wrestle Carnival? I mean, we've got Progress out there, E for the female talents and stuff. What are your thoughts on some of the current the current UK scene, especially now coming out of the pandemic? How do you think we're looking?
I think we look great. I think if you could see sort of inbox that I have on multiple different platforms, you'll see how many people are really looking to get onto new shows, get themselves out there. There's so many people around that just are tremendous. We had obviously a lot of people go and sign for WWE or AEW. There's been a few. Ring of Honor, there's been a few. So this obviously opens up more opportunities for other people as people gone out to Japan. So it just allows more opportunities for these individuals. And so far, there's just so many people around that just you could go to any show right now and just you'll find a new person you fall in love with. You'll see somebody that you may have heard of and then think, wow, they're amazing. The four of us could sit here now and we could write out a show that could be incredible and we'd still miss a few hundred people. It's just absolutely stacked everywhere, and up north is just ridiculous in terms of talent that we have here. So it's really good for me, but it's also a bit of a pain because I can't get everybody on shows and I can't because I don't do enough. I don't want to go too far, but people don't really understand the level that we have here. And it's the same in America. The American independent scene is as hot as it's ever been. It's so good. And, there's so many moving on, going to Impact or going to AEW, and there's still so many people around that are just fantastic. So it's brilliant. Scenes everywhere is great.
Exactly. And I think now, obviously, we're sort of coming out of the pandemic and everything starts to open up. We can now get people like Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham over, etc. Hopefully one day we'll get to see my favourite Jake Chris turn up as well. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'd be happy with that. Nevaeh would be amazing for Alex, but there you go. That's another story. But talking about Wrestle Carnival, this Saturday, you have Wrestle Carnival Pure featuring not only some of the best UK talents like Alex, who is a friend of the show, and Charles Crowley, but also former Impact Knockouts champ Jordan Grace and Ring of Honor Pure champion Jonathan Gresham. If that's not a reason to buy a ticket, well, what else is, to be fair? Can you give us a rundown? Exactly. Can you give us a rundown on why we need to be paying attention to Wrestle Carnival right now and what to expect from Wrestle Carnival Pure?
I mean, I like to obviously put myself over and say, we're going to do the most amazing shows and we're going to do the absolute best we can. But I just ask everyone to keep supporting independent wrestling. Whether you can come to a Nottingham show and support Wrestle Carnival, amazing. But if you are in Norwich, if you're in Manchester, London, as long as you're supporting the scene in the country, that's great for me. That's really what I care about. Obviously, I'd love you to come to the shows. In terms of who we have, we've got, like you said, you just listed a huge amount of people there that are just international stars, really, and are seen worldwide and should be everywhere. And to have the opportunity to work with them in Nottingham for, a relatively inexpensive ticket, an under 16 can come for a £5. You could stand for a tenner or you can sit for 20 quid. So it's, I think that being able to see something like that and seeing stars that are on the show and future stars, people that probably will be around here for maybe 18 months, 2 years, but then they're going to be going on to big things. There's a number of people there that I've got high hopes for. So being able to see the future stars now is always a good thing, because when you go and see them at these big places, you can say, oh, you know what? Saw them in that sports or in Nottingham that one time and they did this. And, and that's great when you see that. There's a number of people that I'm friends with and now in the WWE, and you just think, wow, I used to sit in a car with them. And now look at them, or in AEW, like, oh wow, like a few people chatting to a friend who's in AEW yesterday, and I think, wow, sat in a Nando's with him a few years ago, just chatting, and now he's on TNT. A couple of million. It's incredible when you get to see you can be part of those things. You come to independent wrestling, and you'll be able to see the future stars of tomorrow today. So that's always a good thing.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Well, I think unfortunately, we're out of time for this now. It's been great having you on the show, Gary. And don't forget, if you can get to Wrestle Carnival Pure this Saturday, 9th of October, I believe there's still a few tickets remaining. You won't regret it. Not only will Gary be running around behind the scenes, but former Knockouts champ Jordan Grace will be taking on friend of the show Alex Winter, and Jonathan Gresham will also be in action against a legend of the British scene, Chris Ridgway. One last thank you to our fantastic guest, Gary Ward, everyone.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Take care.
Take care.
Cheers,
Yeah, thank you.
Well, there we go, guys. There we go. Gary Ward from Wrestle Carnival. Great to have him on the show, subbing in there for Charles Crowley. But like I said, we will get Charles on a bit at a later date. But what a fantastic guest. What a fantastic guy. A big, promoter for the UK scene there. Not just Wrestle Carnival, but the whole UK scene as a whole. And I could not recommend enough getting to, if you're in the UK, getting to a Wrestle Carnival show or, Progress or Eve or any of the other promotions. But, I could not recommend enough getting to, like Gary said, check out some of these stars of tomorrow today. So what a cool way of putting it. So absolutely fantastic. Apologize there that my phone is going off. I will just put that on silent because that then has reminded me that if it suddenly goes off in the middle of the show, how embarrassing is that? It's like that's like being that person at the cinema where your phone goes off, isn't it?
Oh,
and you just think,
bad Bison.
And you just think, what a penis. Could have turned his phone off. But there you go.
I can turn it on anytime, Pat.
Come on,
no
we
problem.
gotta go.
I love Shark Boy. I so love Shark Boy. You wouldn't believe how many messages and emails I've sent that guy to try and get him on the show. Absolute legend. Okay, so let's get slap bang into our impacted recap of the week. Now, first of all, what I want to talk about, I want to get this out of the way early. We've obviously got the brand spanking new DMC title. The first couple of matches have been announced. We've had John Skyler versus Zicky Dice, which has already happened, and John Skyler was the victor in that one. I think tonight we've got Hernandez versus Crazy Steve.
Yes,
It's
we do.
underway currently.
Is underway at the moment, so we may find out who the winner is on that one soon.
I got it on now.
Okay, so it's showing obviously on Impact Plus and Insiders, and then I believe 24 hours later on social media platforms as well. So I believe on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all whatever it is that they're going to put it on, I believe this match will be available for everybody to look at 24 hours after it's aired on Impact Plus and Insiders. So, which is great news. So, like I said, last night, John Skyler defeated Zicky Dice. And tonight, at the moment, Hernandez versus Crazy Steve is showing on Impact Plus Insiders as well. So don't forget to check out the Skyler win. Not too bad match. I mean, it wasn't as good as I thought it could have been, but it was still a pretty solid match. Interesting to see where John Skyler goes from here. I know that I'm a bit sold on this fella, so I'm looking forward to see exactly where this is going. Really, so it was really good.
Yeah. Do you want to go into the second match as it's just finished, or do you want to leave it as it could contain something people haven't seen?
I think if I was to go and mention that now, could be. But I mean, I know it's shown, but could it potentially be classed as a spoiler?
Oh God! Let's chat this out to you guys in the chat, and then we'll get yes or no, and then we'll tally it up at the end of the show, and then majority say yes, then we'll give you the result, and if not, then you have to wait till you can see the match yourself.
There you go. As you know, I am not a fan of spoilers. Okay, it drives me up the wall when it comes to spoilers. So, but I'll tell you one other thing I wanted to ask you, and I don't know whether Steve has got it available, but I did want to have a quick look at the belt because I think the belt is absolutely gorgeous. Have you got it there, Steve?
Yes, give a second.
Because I'll tell you what, right? I think this belt is absolutely gorgeous. Regardless of the name, I couldn't give a monkeys about the name, but I think the belt. Look at that, ladies and
Wow.
gentlemen. Look at that. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous belt. I love it. I don't know. I'd love to know everybody's thoughts on this. You know, it's a DMC tournament going on at the moment, so the Digital Media Championship. I think it's a beautiful belt. I think it's a great idea. I think it's very forward thinking of Impact to sort of kind of like move this way. I did read somewhere that they were saying it was sort of kind of like the replacement for the potential TV championship, because, you know, in reality, you know, everything's now starting to go into the digital media forum, so it makes sense that you would have a title.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of people saying, "Oh, this is very, very similar to the whole kind of like internet championship that Matt Cardona used to carry." Well, he still does, I believe. But you know, at least there's a tournament to actually get to win this one, rather than you just declare yourself as the internet champion. So no, I think it looks great. I think the name is fine. I have absolutely no issues with that. You know, and what's the difference between digital media or TV title? I mean, like if it was a TV title, you'd be happy with that, would you? I mean, I just don't know. Similar thing to me, and I quite
it's
like
on the screen. That's all that you need. That's all. That's the only. You know, it's on the screen. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
the same thing. It's just a different name.
Yeah, exactly. And I got to be honest with you. You know, I think it is very forward thinking. You know, I love it.
Like anything, it's going to be the execution. You know,
Yeah.
it can be a fantastic idea and look fantastic, but we've seen in the past with Impact and their introducing of titles, it's going to be how they execute it. You know, some of what I've read has been like, not sure on this, but it might just be my way of understanding it. It might be going completely over my head. So I'm very intrigued, and you know, so far it's been all positive. I love the design, love the name, and I'm intrigued to see where they go. But I think
the main thing about it is that they're basically, you know, admitting, or not acknowledging, not admitting, but acknowledging that you know, the social media platform, the digital media platforms are the future of the business, right? So for me, they're effectively ahead of the curve. You know, but it's just that, as always, it doesn't matter what Impact do, there's always going to be people out there that have to naysay it. You know, even if they naysay it straight away and then like 24 hours after thinking about it are like, actually, it's not that bad. Actually, this is quite a cool concept. You know, why not just shut your mouth to begin with? Check out what this is all about before you make a comment. You know, that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, get to know the idea of what it actually is before you start, making negative comments about something you have no idea about. Especially when all your especially when the only thing you're actually negative about is the name of the championship.
Or the appearance.
Like, you know, for me, I'm like, seriously, is that the only thing that you've got to say now? Like, the name of the belt sucks. Like, well, actually, it doesn't suck at all. I think the DW, I forgot what I said it was now, but DMW belt. That's it. I think if you look at it that way, if you abbreviate it down, the DMC tournament or the DMC title, I think it sounds quite cool. But you know, there you go. That's something for another time, I guess. Maybe I should do a Bison's rants, maybe a Bison rants on Patreon or something. Anyway, moving on. We now have all 8 competitors being named for the Knockouts Knockdown tournament. You've got Lady Frost, Rennie Michelle, Mercedes Martinez, Brandy Loren, Chelsea Green, Tasha Steele, Rachel Ellerin, and the new girl, which I don't know too much about, but everyone seems to be raving, Jamie, is it Senegal, I believe? Am I pronouncing that right, lads? Senegal? But either way, apparently she is some sort of relation, or maybe been taught by Daphne at some point, or something along those sort of kind of lines. All I know is that the internet seems to be raving about her. So, what are your thoughts on this, guys? What are your thoughts on the ladies that have been introduced for this tournament?
The variety is absolutely spot on and just what we needed. I'm excited about this one that everyone's raving about too. To be honest, when I saw her name pop up, something just clicked in my head that this is going to be someone really special. We got Lady Frost and I think Mercedes Martinez on this week, so hopefully that's like a sign that we might be seeing them really getting more interest from Impact Wrestling now, which is good. So. Good too, because I'm really excited to see Renee Michelle and Lady Frost back on Impact Wrestling. You know, they were fantastic the last time, and Mercedes Martinez is awesome as well. So it's a huge, great. Knockdown is doing what it's meant to. It's meant to showcase all the women out there that don't get a huge amount of opportunity in the spotlight or that are just underrated. And some of these people that are there are awesome, especially Lady Frost, and you've seen some of the stuff she does on AEW Dark and everywhere like that, and you're wondering how the hell does she not sign some? But then when we interviewed her, she gave her explanation perfectly. You know, she's the one who's making the decision for herself. She's not letting someone drag her in. So it was good that we got to talk to Lady Frost, and you know, we got a bit of an insight into how the independent scene works a bit more. But of course,
yeah.
So. It was good. I'm really excited to see her.
Okay. What about yourself, Steve? What are your thoughts on this? Or have you got some sound bites to, throw in?
Well, I could just throw this.
This is the good stuff.
Exactly. Go on. What are your thoughts on this?
Sort of says it all, doesn't it? I mean, you've got a real nice blend of knockouts that are on the roster and unsigned talent coming in. You know, it blends it really nice. And if you look at each knockout, they're all different. You know, there might be the odd one that kind of the odd couple that kind of feels similar, but they've still got that uniqueness to them. So each match is going to have, is going to feel different. They're all, yes, they're singles matches, but each one is going to feel unique to themselves, and the way the brackets line up is going to be very interesting, I feel.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, at the moment, they haven't actually announced who's going to be against who, so I'm guessing they're going to leave that to the night. And of course, this is obviously this Saturday on the Impact Plus app. I believe it's also available on Ultimate Insider as well. So make sure that you check that out. If you wanna watch it, then you need to sign up to Impact Plus or Ultimate Insider. That's what you need to do. So get down there and get that done. For me, the way that they're setting this up, I think they've been very slick. I mean, they've been, introducing us to who's going to be on the card gradually over the last few weeks, which I think is been really good on the socials. There's just been, the way that they introduce, who's going to be the announced team and the in-ring, announcer and all that kind of stuff, I thought has been really, really clever, and it's really made it's really made me want to make sure I watch this show. So I'm looking forward to it. It's one show that I've always wanted to come back, so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about all the competitors. I'm excited to see Jamie. As I've never seen her before, so I'm excited to see what she can do. Some of my favorites are already in there with Rachel Ellering is one of my favorites on the Impact roster.
Rachel Ellering is fantastic.
Amazing in-ring performer. You got Tasha Steele's in there, of course. Then we've got the veteran Mercedes Martinez coming in to really add some shine and some flavor to it. And of course, we've already talked about Lady Frost, who's a friend of the show. I've also interviewed Renee Michelle, a few months back. Another lovely lady who is also the partner, of course, Rockstar Spud. So if anybody remembers him from back in the TNA days, who's now on the E is something else, but I don't want to talk about that. Chelsea Green, obviously, Tasha Steele's, and interesting, Brandy Loren. Now, interestingly enough, with Brandy, she now turned up on the Impact roster page in full makeup. So do you remember we were talking about where was she? Why was she not on the page? And like I said, I think it's because they want to get her in full gear. They want to have a proper one, and that's what so it's great. So we now know that moving forward, she's still being called Brandy Loren, but she's now part of the Undead realm with Sue Young, as we know, full makeup and looking fantastic. Of course, we all know now then that potentially Kimberly or Sue Young could be following her to the ring. Who knows? Or could be part of this somehow. Could be introduced into this. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see, won't we? So that's all good. We also now know that Decay will face the Influence at Knockouts Knockdown. Obviously, this past week on Impact, we had the Influence versus Jordan Grace and Rachel Ellering, leading to the Influence winning. So we're going to have Decay facing the Influence for the Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I'm going to say a Decay win. What are your thoughts on this one? I'm going to go with Steve first on this one. What are your thoughts on this, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a great match. I mean, you've got 4 really, decent knockouts in there, and I think you've got 2 really good teams in there. But yeah, I do agree, because I think that they are building up towards Decay versus Jordan and Rachel at Bound for Glory.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be a good match. Okay, what about you, Joe? What are your thoughts?
I'm really hyped for this match. Tennille Dashwood and Madison Rayne put on a fucking impressive performance last week, and I really enjoyed the match when I got to watch it last night. It was awesome. I was so impressed of how well they're gelling together so quickly, and I'm hoping that Havoc and Rosemary win. They need a strong victory, and against another team that's just as unpredictable as them, because no one knows how low Madison Rayne and Tennille Dashwood will actually go to get a victory. And of course, it's going to be great because they're going to be with their full entourage, and Crazy Steve and Black Taruso are going to be out there with Rosemary and Havoc. So it's going to be bedlam outside. It's going to be bedlam inside. The match is going to be highly entertaining.
Listen,
leaves me wondering.
I'm going to throw something in the ring. I'm going to throw something in the hat here, in the ring here, right? Now, we've got Decay, they're a faction, so we're going to have potentially, it's not just going to be Rosemary and Havoc out there. We potentially have got Steve, obviously, out there, and Taurus, possibly as well. Now, are we or are we not? I don't know, because it's all knockouts. It's a knockouts knockdown, so they might not be there. Same with Caleb and Kay. Is he going to be there? I don't know. He could be. But for me, this is where I think we're going to see the Inspiration arrive and basically cost the Influence the match to set up a feud moving forward for the Influence and the Inspiration to then obviously lead that up to Bound for Glory for a non-title tag match between the Influence and the Inspiration. That's my prediction. That's my booking right here, right now. Let's see what happens.
Proud as a peacock.
I am proud as a peacock with that. Proud as a peacock.
There's still no confirmation on whether they're going to go to AEW and do this thing with Britt Baker that they've been talking about for about 6 months now. So if they do make an appearance in Impact Wrestling, even just up to Bound for Glory, that would be awesome.
It would. It would be awesome. I'd love to see it. And I like the way, if this is the way it's going, I love the way that they've set this up. Because I think it's a really good way of doing it. Like you say, introducing the Influence as a tag team, which is very, like you say, very inspiration, very iconic, styly.
Quiet from the Inspiration for a little while, hasn't it too?
Yes, of course. Yeah, without doubt. So I'm really excited. I think this is going to happen. I've just got it in my head that it's going to happen. I'm sure that come Knockouts Knockdown, it doesn't happen, I'll be very disappointed, but there you go. But it would be cool if it did happen for me, I think. I don't know, what are your thoughts in the chat? Can I just a quick hello to Next Bike One? Courtney's in the house. Great to see you, sweetheart. I thought you were going to be late. Obviously, we've got SC Williams in the house. Lakers legend is in the house today.
Everyone's very, very smitten by Sammy.
I see. I have noticed that. We've got Jason Michael. We've got Zach in the house, which is great to see as well. Terrence Sullivan is in with us today. Hello, Terrence. How are you, buddy? Who else have we got? I did see Violet or Anna Reed. I did see her in the house as well. So it's nice to see you as well, sweetheart. So yeah, lots of great people in the house today. Lots of great people coming in supporting the TNI-UK team. We really appreciate it. Now, Also, being announced that Turning Point will be returning to the Impact Plus special on the 20th of November. And if I'm reading it right, it's going to be live. So what are your thoughts on this, boys? Because I know that this is something we've spoken about several times, that, you know, how cool would it be if they can't get the weekly show live, how cool it would be if the Impact Plus specials were live every month leading into the next set of tapings. I don't know. What about yourself? What about Steve? What do you think?
Yeah, well, if I remember, that's how they used to do them, isn't it? They used to do the monthly events live, and then the next couple of days that would be their tapings. And then I think it was maybe just before the pandemic or whatever. That's been when it changed, and then since then it's been the same. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see them go back to that. Although I will give Impact credit, this last month with month set tapings, they've done a fantastic job of hiding everything that has gone on, because a lot has happened, and I mean, I've seen nothing come out.
Well, I think they've banned Sean Ross Sapp from actually going to the tapings. I think that's been the big difference. No, I'm only joking. I got no idea, but a lot of the stuff that was coming out from him. It's when he was at that very first set of tapings with Slammiversary, etc. But since then, it seems to have calmed down quite a lot, and the fan base. You know, I don't know whether at the tapings, you know, Scott gets to the ring and says, "Look, guys, like, seriously, you know, you're all here because you love the product. So, you know, let's not spoil it for everybody else," kind of thing. So, you know, maybe that's been said or something at the tapings to make a difference. I don't know. But what I do know is that we've been surprised quite a few times already so far from this set of tapings. So, kudos to Impact, kudos to everybody in attendance for not splashing stuff around all over the place. Really, really appreciate it. What about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that they're able to get at least giving it a shot and seeing how it can work out, because it was around about post Bound for Glory last year that things did start to go from being live to pre-recorded again, but the reason why was never clear, and it didn't really damage the product at all. The Impact Plus specials after Slammiversary last year were awesome, and since they've come back, they've been on top notch as well.
Yeah. I think the main thing is that they've gone away from these Impact Plus specials of being almost like totally random and not relevant to much that's going on with regards to the show, and now it's almost like it's must watch. You have to watch the specials because, like William Morrissey said to me in my interview last week, that, you know, now, you know, they're building up storylines through those tapings into the specials, and then out of the specials you start to get more storylines, or you start to get more insight into what's going on, or some of it will accumulate. Some of it will, you know, come to an end, and then they start on something new the following set of tapings. But whatever happens, they're always really good, and I love every single one of them.
Yeah,
so
there's not been one that's let down.
No, I don't think so. And the other thing is if they're opening it up to live, that gives you more of a reason to make sure you tune in, so that if they can shock you, they could give you a surprise debut. You know, they could, you know, do something which you weren't expecting. Something fresh, something new. They cannot be spoiled because it's live.
For reals.
Exactly, for reals. This could definitely be the way to go. So I'm happy for this, and I hope they continue doing it that way. Now, it's currently a huge topic on social media, and that is Sam's Town Casino being the BFG pay-per-view. Is it big enough, etc.? Now, here's my thoughts on this. Bison's thoughts on this one. Okay, so just before the pandemic hit, we were starting to see bigger and better attendance. Sam's Town was selling out. Right, they were getting 900 to 1,000 people at every set of tapings for every show. Now, as well as whatever specials they were doing at that time. Now, what you have to remember is this. Oh, and when they did the BFG pay per view, I believe that was in Chicago. It was like 3,500. Now, for me, that's a good number for Impact. They were starting to build. Those numbers were getting better. They were building, and they were getting that momentum, and people were starting to come to the shows. Okay, the pandemic then hit, which halted all of that. It halted that growth. Yeah, it completely halted it. So, because they even went, I think the last set they did, was it in Atlantic City, possibly, or Atlanta?
It was Atlanta. Because
there you go.
The last set of tapings they did, I think, was when was just after Jake Crystal joined up with what's his name? Who Blake got fired, Joey Ryan.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, you're right. So it's kind of like, I think that was when Kylie Ray also debuted, wasn't it?
Yeah, shortly after Kylie Ray debuted.
Around the same time, yeah.
Yeah, so there was quite a lot going on at that time, and they were starting to get, some really good audiences. They were starting to build. Then, of course, what happens is the pandemic hits and they can't have an audience anymore. So to ensure that they kept, were able to continue as a promotion, putting out TV every single week, putting out specials, putting on pay-per-views, giving you content continually, they went into a studio, right? This is not to make them look small. This is because of necessity. There was, they either went into a big arena and was basically like, had all these seats with nobody in them doing a wrestling show, which was silly. Or you go into a smaller studio, give it a good production, lots of lights and smoke and God knows what else, and try and, give it a bit of beef. Later on, they went on to add in the fake audience sound as well, just to give it a little bit more atmosphere. But the bottom line is this, right? They've done it right because they weren't in a position to go, right, we've been traveling around the country. We've been, packing these houses out. Let's go and stick BFG in a 5,000-seater stadium. How does that make sense? Like, how does that make sense? In Nashville at the moment, they've got, 200, maybe 250 coming in to watch in the studio, right? Like, and they've not gone anywhere else. They've just been doing it there. Now, why would you then suddenly go to Las Vegas and stick a pay-per-view into a 4,000 or 5,000 person arena when it frankly, you've not been drawing those kind of numbers. You're not able to fill it at the moment because everything's been halted slightly, right? Baby steps, like Violet has said knocked it on the head. Baby steps, patience. They will get there. They've got to get back to where they stopped, where they finished before they went to no crowd, right? And to me, it's a big step going back to Samstown because that is a bigger venue, right? That there is, you can get 900,000 people in that venue. They'll make a lot of noise. If they can pack it out for BFG and those tapings, they know that they can start to draw and they're going to start traveling. Now, I believe they're there now in Samstown until the end of the year. So at least we know that we're now going to get a bigger audience. We're now going to get, it's going to be a bit, everything's going to be a little bit bigger, a bit more glitzier, a bit more glamour. So, and then I think just wait and see what happens in the new year. Will Hard to Kill up the game? Are we going to see Hard to Kill in a bigger venue? I think we are, and I think over 2022 it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and better. And if they do bring in Braun Strowman, which we'll get to in a minute, if they do bring in Bray Wyatt, if they do bring in some of these top stars, they're going to draw the numbers. They're not stupid. They're not stupid. They're shrewd business people. Impact is now making money. Why throw good money away for old rope? Don't make sense.
We came here for a lot of money.
What are your thoughts, Steve? What are your thoughts?
No, I can't. I completely agree. And to be honest, I'll add something to that, which is, some of this may be out of Impact's hands, which is, we're still not out of this whole, COVID sort of pandemic situation, are we?
We're not.
There's no point going to it's probably a ridiculous number, but there's no point going to a 500,000 seated arena where everyone's going to clamber in and then come out where everyone's in an unsafe environment, and then Impact's going to have this whole banner like everyone went to an Impact sort of event and came out with COVID. You know, they still need to be in an arena with a safe system, and then know where the limit is, where they're safe, and the sort of COVID sort of system is safe. So it's still not 100% in their hands as well.
No, exactly. What about you, Joe? I mean, you're a bit like me in the sense of I don't really give a monkeys about crowds and stuff like that. I just enjoy the product. But what are your thoughts on what people are saying with regards to Samstown Casino?
I think Samstown's the best place to go, but like you said, with the baby steps and everything, that's the right way to go. You look at what WWE did. They ended up wasting a hell of a lot of money trying to get everything together. With it, especially with NXT, and look where it is now because of how they've handled everything there. AEW had the right idea with in terms of having the roster around the ring to at least add some atmosphere, but it didn't work as well as having a live audience. But it still did something. But Impact Wrestling took the smarter decision alongside companies like Ring of Honor, and that was just to go completely back to basics, strip everything back so everyone is as safe as possible and everyone's as happy as possible, and everyone knows that they can get on with what they can do with the limited amount of time and resources they have. So everything they've got to do has been pretty much on the fly. So, as coming up to like Samstown and that, it's like Steve said, and you said, there's no point in going to a huge big arena expecting a full amount of crowd when there's still the consumer confidence, there's still travel restrictions, there's still the price of actually getting to Las Vegas to begin with is quite a lot. I'm pretty sure. I've never been myself, but things like that in general. And then there's also the mental pressure as well on the staff and the people who are actually going.
Now, I agree with that, Violet. I think people are looking at the draw that other companies are bringing in, but you've also got to look at the numbers and watch them on TV. They're going to draw much bigger numbers than us. Much bigger numbers than Impact with regards to filling up, bigger arenas and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying that Impact will never go into bigger arenas. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you've got to build up to it. It's not going to happen overnight. They got to a point where they were starting to go into the bigger venues just before the pandemic. We were starting to sell out shows. And then, unfortunately, the pandemic hit. It put a halt to it. So rather than just suddenly going crazy, they're saying, right, okay, well, let's sort of kind of just basically go to where we left off. So Samstown is pretty much size and level of where they left off. So they're going back to where they left off, and then they're going to start building again. They're going to start touring. They're going to start going to different venues. They know of more venues. They're going to do a UK tour. Of course they are. That's going to happen at some point in the next 12,
Canada and
18
Mexico
months.
are obviously still on their agenda as well.
Exactly. And let's face the facts. I mean, I don't know how many people were crammed into those Mexico arenas, but they looked pretty big, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. Mexican arenas are huge. They can get hell of a lot of people in there, and the fans just go ballistic. Whether it's like 5 people or 3,000.
Yeah, awesome. Exactly. They absolutely love it. So we just got to be patient. We can't keep going for that instant gratification and all that kind of crap. We have to be patient. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And they're building a viable business. Wrestling is a business. You have to understand that.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from that, because I'm starting to get full of beefalo. All right. Ooh. I'm starting to get the beefalo on. So I need to reel it in. Bam! Exactly. I need to reel it in, and I need to get onto something which was absolutely awesome from this past week on Impact, and that was the Mickey versus Deanna Barnyard Brawl match this past week. Now, what a build Impact are doing here with regards to this championship match with BFG. I'm telling you now, that Barnyard Brawl was amazing. I absolutely loved it. I was fearing for Mickey's life at one point when there was a fork on the floor. But I thought this was really good. We had drowning, we had like trying to strangle her with bits of rope and all sorts of stuff. I mean, it was good. I'd love the smashing her on the head with the riding hat thing. I thought that was a good moment as well.
They fucking hurt, I can tell you.
I can imagine they do, man. I can imagine. You're right, man. It was 100% pure beefalo. We need to sort of t-shirt. Yes, there was some wet t-shirts. You're right. But maybe that's what I need. I need a t-shirt, 100% pure beefalo. Just that. That's all it says.
A wet t-shirt for a second.
No.
Fuck that.
Well, you don't want to see my moves. I'll tell you. You don't want to see my moves. But anyway. So yeah, no, I thought this was great. What were your thoughts on this, Joe? Come on, son.
All right, I thought it was awesome. I only managed to catch Impact Wrestling last night, so I'd seen the Deonna Purrazzo and Mickie James segment before on the highlights in that. But I watched this. This is the second time watching it, and it is just as entertaining as the first time. It was built up brilliantly. They really are pouring a lot into this match, seeing as we knew that this is like the so obvious match for Bound for Glory come Slammiversary. But they're building it up so well. It's probably going to top Gail Kim versus Tessa Blanchard in terms of the best knockouts matches of all time. It's just really, really heading into something really, really hardcore country.
Okay, hardcore country. I like it. I like the way you slipped that one in there, Joe. That was good. What about you, Steve? What do you think on this one?
Yeah, like I say, they have been building this sort of since anniversary, and after what we saw here, as I wonder if they're gonna head towards some kind of like hardcore, like no DQ match between the two of them at Bound for Glory.
Yeah.
I hope it's something like not False Count Anywhere rather than like a street fight or something like that.
I don't know if we've seen Deonna in many of those kind of matches.
She's been in a couple against Rosemary and Sue Young, and she was an absolute badass in both of those matches, especially against Rosemary.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's sort of had a couple, hasn't she? But yeah. But Mickie can really go in those matches, can't she, as well?
Cool. So Mickie is hardcore country, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we had that's the soundbite we need, Steve. We need to get that so that every time we talk about Mickie James, that we get the music hardcore country. That'd be great. So get that on the case, boy. Get that on the case. So so
J-Brain's probably scrolling through the library now. Fuck, have we still got it somewhere?
Hype is now I'll tell you what though, the hype is now growing over the seats, over the dirt sheets, social media, that we will see Braun and Bray sign with Impact Wrestling.
That's it. My eyes.
Okay, in your eyes, you think it's going to happen?
Yeah.
I saw that Braun took to social media having a go at one of the wrestling dirt sheets. I couldn't find what he was actually upset about. So if anyone in the chat could enlighten us on why Braun Strowman, or sorry, that's not his name now, is it? Is it Adam Shear? What he was upset about with one of the dirt sheets this past week. He put something out there. Loads of people were agreeing with him, but you know, I've got fingers crossed. You know, Braun for Glory. You know, Bray Wyatt coming in as father would be amazing. Can you imagine Bray Wyatt and Sue Young doing something together? Would just be just fucking amazing. And like, if he can't see that, then he must be nuts. But I don't know. What about you, Steve? What do you think? It sounds like Joe's pretty convinced they're coming in.
Oh, yeah. I mean, both of them coming in would be perfect. I'm more confident of Braun than Bray, if I'm honest. But that's just because there's been so much talk. I mean, even Scott D'Amore himself said Braun. And when the boss is saying a name flat out, you get a bit of oomph behind you. Okay, this is more likely to happen. But yeah, both of them would be perfect fits. And I have an inkling that Bray could turn up. But yeah, of the two, I think Braun is more likely.
Okay, here we go. Critical Sting. Another case of ringside news being ringside news. Yeah, I just didn't see it because I'd heard that they'd obviously said something, and then they then Braun made a comment, and then they deleted it and then reposted it again without his comment or something. So I'm not sure what that was about, but if anyone can enlighten us, we'd love to know. We'd love to know, because I thought the fact that Braun was calling them out was absolutely brilliant. So
if it's ringside news being ringside news, it's just dirt sheets being twats. That's all.
Yeah, but I'm just really interested to find out what.
Fake wrestling news.
Don't believe anything that you read on the internet.
Exactly.
Sammy's watching it thinking, what the fuck is going on? He's literally sat there watching it and tilting his head as it's coming along the screen.
What is that? Yeah, no, so it's all good. But so some interesting stuff. I think all we can say really is that, I would love to see it happen. Braun and Bray turn up on Impact. Buddy Matthews would be great as well. But I know that he's been teasing that he's going to be turning up on AEW as a Joker or whatever it is. I've seen the few teases on that. That doesn't mean to say he's signed with AEW. It just means that he's going to turn up and do a match potentially. But who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. And I'm looking forward to it. I heard I don't know whether this is true, but apparently Braun Strowman is making Adam Scherr is making a announcement or something about his future in the coming week or so, apparently. So yeah, look out for that, I guess. We'll be looking out for that to see what he has to say. But let's hope it's he's heading over to Impact Wrestling. Now, W. Morrissey discussed his future with Impact on Bison Talks Impact a week ago. It was picked up by many of the internet wrestling sheets that he was talking about possibly being long-term with Impact Wrestling. Obviously didn't, disclose anything or any length of time or anything like that, but the way he was talking with regards to his whole aim is to be with Impact long term, going for the Impact World title and all that kind of stuff, I think pretty much tells you that he's looking to stay with Impact Wrestling a little bit longer. So I think that's fantastic news to hear that from him, and I was really shocked that he actually said that on my interview. And I did say to the boys before it came out, I said, look, there's something on there that you might find interesting. Well, there you go. That was it. The dirt sheets, the internet went wild. I can't, but it's the most viewed interview that I've ever done already, and it's only been out for 5 days. So that's pretty awesome. I think the only one that's ahead of it at the moment is Jake Christ. Funny enough, he's got quite a lot of traction. But again, that's over quite a long period of time. Whereas this is all accumulated in the past 5 days, which has been pretty awesome. So a big thank you to Fightful and a few of the other wrestling sheets that decided that they were gonna quote. Going to quote my interview. So thank you very much. And also another big note, I don't know if you noticed, but Impact UK, the official Impact UK and Ireland Impact social media Twitter site, also shared it. So there you go. So that was a validation from them as well. So I was quite impressed with that. So there you go. Anyway, enough of me. But yeah, so that's good news. What are your thoughts on William Morrissey staying around, Joe?
He is awesome. I said it last week. He's been him coming to Impact Wrestling. He's been one of the best signings from any company this year and probably last year. He's been one of the best signings that any company could have picked up. And it's just great to see that he's committed to Impact Wrestling if they're committed to him. He made that clear in an interview before Slammiversary that his intention was to go through Rich Swann, go through Willie Mack and Moose and Eddie Everson, work with them and Sammy Callahan and see where it goes from there. And even then he hinted that he wanted to get his hands on Kenny Omega and see if that happens. But if it didn't happen, he'd be happy to go else to continue on regardless.
He'll take on whoever.
he showed a real professional stance back then. and he's showing it now. So you can tell he's fully committed and fully invested in this company.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And do you know what I like most was that his character on screen is very different to his actual real life character.
Yeah.
He actually took me by surprise because I was expecting his persona to be a bit of a
You expect him to be really stone faced and really
yeah, very exactly, very Healy, and he wasn't at all. And it sort of kind of took me a little bit by surprise. It's why I said to him what a lovely smile he had and stuff, which probably sounded a bit sort of kind of like weird, but he just did. It was just like this nice smile, as opposed to that sadistic smile that you see from him when he's on screen. You know,
when he's going to
exactly, yeah. I was taken back. I was like, wow, this guy's. Yeah, he looks quite approachable, even though he is 7-foot monster. But yeah, no. So it was quite cool. So I was really impressed with that, and it's good to see that, like you say, he's going to be sticking around. He's going to be committed to Impact, and like I said, you know, we've also heard something similar from Matt Cardona as well. So again, these are great things to hear from these guys. Proper promoting Impact, proper saying that it's the place they want to be. They're going for titles, etc. Yeah, I love it. I think that's great, and hopefully we get a few more. The last thing I want to talk about before we move into tomorrow night on Impact is the return of Press Pass as we lead up to BFG. Now, as far as I'm aware, there's going to be a Press Pass every week, which started yesterday. Unfortunately, I was on a date night with the wife of Bison. We watched the new James Bond movie, which I could not recommend enough. If you are a James Bond fan, you do not want to miss this film. It was amazing. 2.5 hours of just total non-amazingness from start to finish. Great film. Have any of you boys seen it yet?
No, not yet. No,
not yet.
Mate, honestly, we went to the IMAX. I'd IMAX it up. It's an amazing, really, really good film. So if you're a fan of Bond, even if you're not a fan of Bond, you need to go and watch this movie. You could tell exactly why they wanted to hold off, because it's that good. It would have been completely wasted if it had just gone, to the whole, Sky TV or whatever, a pay-per-view type scenario. It'd have been completely wasted. So I'm glad they held off, because it was an amazing film. But anyway, I digress. I'm talking about James Bond and not Impact Wrestling. How crazy. But yes, exactly. But we are talking about the return of Press Pass. Like I say, it's going to be every single week. Like first one was yesterday. I believe it was Gail Kim hosting with Deanna Purrazzo and Mickie James. Nearly forgot her opponent then for 1 minute. So it's really, really good to see they're doing these. I'm looking forward to seeing they're doing next week. Hopefully I could join in next week. And maybe the week after, but it's going to be every week now leading up to Bound for Glory. So I'm going to try and get in on some of those. I know J Bone was in on it last night, and I think he's already posted that on the TNI website, TNI YouTube channel. So make sure you go and check that out. It was a really good question, actually. Make sure. Yeah, so make sure you go and check that out. He got Gail, he got Deanna, he got Mickie and Gail to answer that question. So really, really good job, buddy. Really good. Right, so let's move on. We've got tomorrow night on Impact. We'll start off with the BTI match. We've got Matthew Raywell versus Laredo Kid. Now, of course, this past couple of weeks on BTI and on Impact, we've had Matthew sort of kind of watching Laredo Kid backstage with interest. And then obviously that sort of kind of ended up with a promo leading to this match on BTI. What are your thoughts, fellas? What are your thoughts? Let's go with Joe first.
I like how they set this match up. Rather than tuck it onto the main show, it's good that this is on BTI. Matthew Raywell's promo for the match was awesome. After Laredo Kid took the pin in the match against Trey Miguel and Alex Zane, who made an awesome debut last week. Yeah, So it's great to see. It's helping keep BTI relevant by having promos building into matches on there, as matches coming on from BTI into Impact Wrestling. Decay have done it a lot with Tasha Steele's, and guys like Laredo Kid and Matthew Raywell are good guys to work around it too.
Yeah.
And
Actually, I'm glad you mentioned that Alex Zane makes his debut because I completely forgot about that. That should have been in my 10 things to talk about before we got into this.
forgetting Bison.
I know, very, very impressive debut from Alex Zane. I hope we get to see more of him, and I think we do, I believe, at some point. So, fingers crossed we get to see more of him. Sorry, what about you, Steve? What are your thoughts?
Like this, I'm very intrigued with this match because I had an idea, I had a thought where it could be going, and then the two of them facing off could like maybe go in a completely different direction. So yeah, I'm very intrigued in the match. It should be a fantastic match because both men, like, you know, they can put on a hell of a match. So yeah, I think I'm more interested in the aftermath of the match.
Yeah, so am I. Definitely, I agree with you. Can I just say a quick goodbye to Courtney? She is my biggest fan, I believe. So her battery's about to run out, so I'm going to quickly get that one in there. Take care, sweetheart. So it's interesting how this one's going to pan out. I think you're right. I think there could be something that sort of kind of goes on after the match as well, which could lead to more from this. But Laredo Kid, you know, one hell of a luchador, against Matthew, who, you know, I mean, Matthew's a tall guy. He's very slender, but he's a tall guy. So I think Laredo might have his hands full with this one. But we're just going to have to wait and see. I think there's going to be some sort of shenanigans go on in this because, you know, Matthew, I think is obviously building as a heel character. So, I mean, I'm very interested to see where this one leads. But I'm going to go with shenanigans. What about, you know, are we going to go with who's going to win, or are we just going to leave it at that?
I think the Raider Kid's going to win.
You do.
And then there's going to be a big Matthew Ray was going to try and do something to the Raider Kid after the match, and it's going to build into next week then with a proper match on the card.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, I never thought of that. What about you, Steve?
I'm going to go with Matthew Raywell, I think, on this one.
Okay. Ooh, controversy on TNI-UK.
What are you guys' thoughts on this?
In the chat, let us know what you think on this one. I really do. I'm very interested to know. Violet met Courtney in real life, and she's awesome, apparently. Well, there you go. I think she's awesome too. So advertise for Impact Wrestling tomorrow night. We've got Heath to address the Impact Zone. Now, obviously, we had the Heath return this past week on Impact, where he comes out to try and save Rhino from VBD. This was a pretty sort of kind of like amazing moment. We didn't expect it, and this is what we're talking about: people hiding these spoilers. We had no idea that Heath was returning this week, and there you go, there he was.
I used to have a last name, but now a billionaire keeps it in a safe.
Exactly. Now just known as Heath. But he has also got some kids. So, and he's got to feed them. So he's got himself a job at the Impact Zone, which is great. So what do you think he's got to say, Joe? What do you think is on Heath's mind?
Oh, baby. What has Heath got to say? God. Well, for one, we know he's going to try and talk Ryan around. He's been trying to talk Ryan around since he's seen what happened to him when after he got taken out. If you followed him online, while he's been on his road to recovery, he's been constantly trying to get in touch with Rhino and trying to talk him round, dropping him messages online, calling him out, and never got anything back. I sent out a message to Heath today, just welcoming him back to Impact Wrestling, and he posted that around on Twitter. So I'm really, really humbled about that. I'm really pleased to see Heath back. I was so excited when he came in at Bound for Glory last year. And this is just going to be great. He looks absolutely amazing. I've been following him from start to finish on his road to recovery. And
yeah,
I can tell you guys, he's gone through 3 operations to get back at least to 2 months earlier than expected. And he's looking absolutely incredible. And
awesome.
So it's setting up for something big for Bound for Glory, whether it's Heath and Rhino versus Dina and Doring, or Dina and Eric Young, or Eric Young and Doring, we don't know, but it's something big happening at Bound for Glory, and it's going to involve Heath and Rhino versus Violent by Design, and it's going to be awesome.
Okay. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts? I kind of agree with a lot of that, Joe, but go on, Steve.
Definitely. Yeah, this has got a very interesting feel to it. It almost, for me, with Rhino, feels a bit like back when AJ had that like ace and eights kind of lone wolf feel. So for me, kind of, it's going to have Heath kind of going towards Rhino and addressing Rhino a little, like trying to get him back on the side. But I don't know. You're going to have Heath kind of. There's going to be a lot to address for Heath because he has been away for so long. So
Yeah, he's been away for a while. Yeah, definitely. Can I just say a quick hello to Bonkers? Nice to see you in the house. And Gary, nice to see you in the house, buddy. Now, thanks for all your shout outs. I appreciate that. So it's going to be interesting to see what Heath has to say. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad he's back. We then got the Bullet Club, which is obviously Bay, Hikuleo, and El Phantasmo, who also made his return, versus Finjuice and Chris Sabin. Now, I know that several members of the TNI team are extremely high on El Phantasmo, as am I. So when you think about someone like El Phantasmo, Chris Sabin coming together, we can see some interesting stuff there. Obviously, we've got the Finjuice and Hikuleo and Bay, the Bullet Club stuff going on with them. So I think it's going to be a slobber knocker, taking the words out of the mouth of the great JR there. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be high octane, heavy hitting match, and I'm looking forward to this one. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts?
Oh yeah, it's strange because this feels like a match that should have been built up for Bound for Glory, which gives me the impression Impact have another card up their sleeve.
Well, I think we're going to get a full Bullet Club appearance at Bound for Glory, but that's just my opinion.
That's what gives me the impression that maybe. I'm not sure whether do the Bullet Club win or do Finjuice win, leading to another match where the fourth member appears, or does the fourth member get involved here? I don't know.
But there is a lot of members to Bullet Club, so they're quite a big faction, really. I mean, like I say, we've still got Ishimori or the Bone Soldier. There's a potential there. We know that after the discussions we've had this past week, we know that he's in the US at the moment. So there's a good chance that we could see the Bone Soldier. There's one for a start. Obviously, we've already seen Jay White, the current leader of the Bullet Club. Yeah. So there's Jay White that could be, coming back into the fold as well. So,
could they add a new Impact member again?
Who knows? It could be interesting. Who do you think would be a good member to join the Bullet Club from the Impact roster?
That's a good one.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I'll tell you what, let us know in the chat your thoughts on this one. If Impact or the Bullet Club were to introduce another Impact roster member into the Bullet Club, who do you think would be a good fit? Who do you think would work in this? But I would like to see the Bone Soldier appear too, Gary. That would be amazing. I would definitely want to see that. I think that would be great because we all know that Ishimori is amazing. It'd be great.
I want my pizzles back.
I bet you do. Anyway, so swiftly moving on, we've got the X Division title tournament. Again, moving forward, we've got Steve Macklin versus Petey Williams versus Decay's Taurus. I say Macklin's going to win this one. I'd like to see Taurus win, but I'm also a fan of Macklin, so either one of those I'd be quite happy with. But I think it's going to be Macklin. I'm going to go with Macklin. He's undefeated at the moment.
Yeah, it's for me. I'd like to see Black Taurus win as well. But you look at it going forward to Bound for Glory. It's going to be Trey Miguel versus Black Taurus, Macklin, Petey Williams versus who knows. And Trey Miguel and Macklin are two completely different, contrasting styles. And whereas Trey Miguel and Black Taurus are both really, really high flying offensive. So as awesome as Taurus versus Trey Miguel would be to see them square off again. Macklin versus Trey Miguel have really contrasting styles, and then who they've got lined up for next week is anyone's guess. Part of me thinks Ace Austin might be there, although it's looking less and less likely. It's more looking now we're going to get Christopher Daniels versus Ace Austin at Bound for Glory, which would be awesome. That's a prediction from me now for where I think Ace Austin's going. But like I said, Macklin and Trey Miguel would be a great way to get everyone's juices really, really going for the X Division title match at Bound for Glory. I think it being a triple threat match is a pretty smart decision. And Ultimate X would be awesome, but we've seen one already this year. And
exactly.
A lot of the match would have been good too, but.
I think the thing is, if you see too many of the same match, then like an ultimate match is a special match, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I guess if you see it too regularly, it doesn't become special anymore. So it's nice, I guess, to not have that. So I quite like this idea, this sort of kind of like 3-man thing, for the X Division title. I think it's going to be great. What about you, Steve? What are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to win this one, or where do you think this is leading?
Well, your instinct is to go with Macklin because they have been pushing him so much. But realistically, anyone can win it. But yeah, I mean, you've got to. I'm gonna stick with Macklin. I feel. Although I will add to what you said in that you see it too much and it does become unspecial, which is my heading towards Bound for Glory. In that, I do worry that you're going to see so many triple threat matches that when you get...
Well, there's only one more. There's only one more after this, isn't there?
And they have done a lot of triple threat matches, haven't they? Over the...
They do. Yeah, they do.
So that when you get to Bound for Glory, is another triple threat match going to be... So yeah...
No, I don't know. I suppose it depends who's in it, though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does, yeah. So yeah...
So we're just gonna have to wait and see how that one pans out.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing there. Gary Rossetti saying that he's wondering what's going on with Larry D at the moment, especially with the fact that AC Ramirez asked for his release, etc. I have a funny feeling that we are going to see Larry come back. The guy's been busting his ass. He's in the best shape of his life. So I could see him come back at some point.
I've already called for him.
Sorry, mate.
Sorry, Steve, go first. I cut in. Sorry.
I just think they're waiting for. They're just going to bring him back just like at the right time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I was calling for him to go to Violent by Design, and Larry D even agreed with that, and Cody Deaner.
Yeah, I think he would fit perfectly in that faction. I think he would be a great person. Yeah. He's a good little actor, He's very good at. He's a good. I mean, we saw him when he portrayed Lawrence D, etc. I mean, he's really got it. I hope that they don't let him fall by the wayside. Larry D for me is a great guy, and I think he's a great wrestler. So, fingers crossed we get to see Larry in the future. We then move on. We then move on to Ace and Fulton versus Josh and Christian. Now, of course, I'm assuming this is the main event. But this is a tag match. You've got your two sort of kind of faces, I guess, versus your heels. I don't really see for me. Although I think it's going to be a good match, I don't see the point in the match. But I think it's going to be a good match. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think that Ace and Fulton are going to come out on top. That's my thought on that one. So, what are your thoughts, Joe, on this one?
Yeah, this match really is just to build heat between Christian and Josh Alexander more than anything else. It's going to end up with them crossing paths, and egos are going to get in the way. They're going to hot tag each other too much, and one's going to get pissed off with the other one, and then they're going to end up losing the match. But it's all really to build up Christian and Josh Alexander rather than to put over Ace Austin and Madman and Fulton, which is a bit of a pain in the ass because Fulton's been so underused this year. But the way I see it, it's Christian and Josh Alexander. There's no other way to really spin it or anything. It's all about them for Bound for Glory. So Ace Austin's just waiting there to take on Christopher Daniels.
Yeah.
Is that the guy from TNN?
It looks like Gary agrees with us with regards to VBD and Larry D as well. So that sounds interesting. And he's also saying that he could see Ace pinning Christian in this match as well, which is interesting. But there you go. We then had a late addition, which only really sort of kind of popped out yesterday, I believe, which was Kimberly, Brandy, Loren, and Lady Frost versus Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans, and Mercedes Martinez. Now, obviously, this is a look and a build towards the Knockouts Knockdown. So I'm pleased to see this. I think this is going to be a great match. I mean, we're going to see Kimberly and Brandy Loren as their new personas get out there and kick some serious ass. I think it's a bit weird that they've put Lady Frost in with them, as I think Lady Frost is more of a I would say a face character personally, but it's kind of weird because you've got Kimberly and Brandy Loren, who are clearly sort of undead bridesmaids now. You got Lady Frost, who's a definite face. You got Tasha Steele, who's a heel. Savannah Evans, who's a heel. Not seeing Mercedes Martinez in a while. I'm not sure whether she's face or heel. So, but yeah, what are your thoughts, Steve?
Yeah, well, like you say, it's a very weird matchup because, I mean, you've got Lady Frost, like you say, who's more towards the face, and Mercedes Martinez, who throughout her career has, I would say, 70% of the time been a face, but that's only 2 knockouts who are faces. The rest of them are heels. So, how do you match them up? You've got 4 who are heels and 2 who are faces. So it's going to be very, very interesting how this matchup plays out.
Well, it's like a heel versus heel match, kind of, but with a couple of faces thrown in.
Unless they play different personas, but even then, it's going to be heel versus heel.
It's definitely heel versus heel, definitely, which is very rare. But who knows where this is going to go? I'm looking forward to seeing it. I'm a fan of everybody. I'm a fan of the knockouts as a whole. So I'm looking forward to seing where this one unfolds.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah, so am I. What about you, Joe? What are your thoughts on this?
I'm so pumped for this match. Really, really pumped for this match. It's going to be so great to see Lady Frost again, and I'm really looking forward to see Kimberly as well. Given how the character shift she's done is one of the best character shifts since Su Yung went from Susan to Su Yung again, and how Su Yung did all that was just awesome. How Kimberly's just completely reinvented
Susie to
herself.
Susan was pretty good.
Yeah, how people are working with Su Yung and they've managed to do that. It's just awesome. I think the way they've put the teams together is does make quite a lot of sense. Lady Frost has a lot of heel work outside of Impact Wrestling. She's also got a very, very wicked sense of humor as well. If you follow her on Twitter, and the way she'll shoot back at people, the way she jokes around with people is really, really funny and can get really dark. So she's not afraid to hold back and get nitty gritty. So having her with the 2, we'll say bad guys, because they're the undead people and all the undead people are bad and all that crap. So it's just, and then you got the hot favorites there like Mercedes Martinez and who she's with.
Yeah. So, Tasha Steele, Savannah Evans.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a strange one because I don't know. I'm interested in what Jason Michaels just said there. He wouldn't mind see Lady Frost as in the undead realm. Interesting that definitely. If she ends up being signed, it would be interesting if she turned up as part of the Su Yung faction as well. It would be, there's a lot of scope for someone like Lady Frost. I mean, she's already obviously a bit frosty, so it'd be interesting to see if she could get even colder and become undead. Who knows? What I do know is I think it's going to be a great match, and it's going to set up Knockouts Knockdown beautifully. Which is obviously this Saturday, Impact Plus, Impact Ultimate Insiders, October the 9th. So make sure you watch it. Get signed up to Impact Ultimate Insiders or get signed up to Impact Plus, whichever you need to make sure you don't miss it. It's going to be a great show. Okay, now with all that said, please don't forget to head over to the TNI Patreon for exclusive extra content when you sign up, and also make sure you watch tomorrow night's TNI flagship Impact live review directly after shows aired on Twitch and YouTube. You never know who could turn up, that's for sure. We had Jade recently. Jade Chung turned up on the show recently, and the Bison's been there for the last few weeks too. So who knows? Who knows who could turn up? Maybe another member of the TNI UK team could turn up one night. You just don't know. And that's what makes it so special, because you just don't know who's going to turn up. So that's all good. Jay has mentioned, don't forget to check out the Spreadshirt. I believe there's got a bit of a sale coming up pretty soon with regards to the Spreadshirt site, where we got all the mugs and T-shirts and hoodies and all sorts of stuff on there. Just basically everything that you can't get on the Pro Wrestling Tees website. So don't forget to head over to that one as well. We've got the TNI 3-man boo shirt available. We've got the TNI UK logo shirt available on there if you're fans of the TNI UK clan. And of course, we've also got the character stuff on there in regards to the Impact US team. You got the Eagle shirt, which I know that Steve has got. He's a big fan of that one. Yeah, it's a good one. I love that shirt. Really, really good shirt. Just not got around to getting it yet, but I do need to get it. So yeah, make sure you check out all of the merchandise options that we've got available, and check out the Patreon. Now, also, all the TNI shows are available on the list to all of our listeners on the Go fans as audio only via SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, wherever you listen to your favorite shows. God, I think I've got a frog in my throat today. But anyway, where can we find you on the socials, Joe?
You can follow me on Twitter at Joe-ker, or you can jump onto Facebook, and if you fancy a daily giggle, look for hashtag empty space, hashtag the void, and of course hashtag daily giggle to test your senses of humor. Enter with an open mind, and you shall step through the empty space and into the void with all sanity intact.
Don't forget Wrestle Buddy articles as well.
Yes, don't forget Wrestle Buddy. I've still got that article on Rosemary, guys. Part 1 is out now.
Yeah, looking forward to part 2, buddy, in about 6 months' time. Can't wait.
Oh, yeah.
And what about you, Steve? Where can we find you, fella?
You can find me over on Twitter at simplysteve311, or you can find me over on wrestling.com like Joe, under the Impact Wrestling header, where I post another article every Thursday, so I should have a new one coming out tomorrow.
Oh, really looking forward to that, mate. Looking forward to that. We're still having a few issues with that mic, you know, bud. Did you check that lead?
Yeah, we did an audio test today.
Can you hear it, Joe?
I can hear it now. It's been fun most of the night. And
just every now and again, but it's a bit funny at the minute. But never mind, it doesn't matter. I'm sure it's all good. Now, please take the time to help us out moving up the rankings on YouTube by giving us a thumbs up. And if you're new to us and you like what you've seen, I'm pretty sure that you do, but you wouldn't be here at this point. Don't forget to click subscribe. And don't forget to give the bell a tickle, a squeeze, or a smash to never miss any of the TNI UK and US teams' great content coming out each and every week. Big thank you to today's guest, Gary Ward from Wrestle Carnival, for joining us tonight. Appreciate that, stepping in at the last minute. Great as well. Fingers crossed we'll get Charles on another show in a couple of weeks. With all that said, I've been Bison. They have been the Joker and Simply Steve. And this has been episode 51 of Impacted. Take care, everyone.
We're Bison! We are Impacted! We're Bison! We're ready to get up! We